not necessarily the species that spring to mind when you think about personality. So this is where it starts. Turns out that animals, like humans, may have some distinct personality traits based on where they live. You know, how you could probably spot the difference between a city slicker and a country bumpkin from a mile away, a similar thing applies to wildlife. It comes down to what researchers call neophilia, the love of novelty, and its opposite, neophobia, the fear of the new. Urban animals tend to be bolder, more exploratory and adventurous. They're the type to wander into new areas and generally embrace the unknown. Meanwhile, rural animals tend to be a bit more cautious. They like familiarity, avoid new experiences, and are, in a sense, the homebodies of the animal kingdom. Take elk, for example. Those who live in urban environments have a different mindset than their rural cousins. They're bolder, more likely to engage in risky behavior, and have a higher chance of clashing with humans than those elk who lived in the countryside further away from town. This isn't just a hypothetical situation. Researchers in Jasper conducted a crazy experiment where they literally ran after different kinds of elk to record what they would do during and after being chased. It's called aversive conditioning, and they didn't do it to be cruel, they did it to inform wildlife management techniques trying to keep the deer population safe. The researchers energetically ran after the elk, on foot, for 10 minutes. The bold elk, who normally would be the take-the-risk types, ran away up to 5 times as far as the shy ones, but they were quicker to return after the chase had ended. They adjusted faster than their shy, cautious cousins, and the effects could be seen even up to a year later, where the bold elk had completely forgotten the chase, whereas the shy ones retained around half of their condition increase in wariness. So, your environment shapes the way you respond to the world around you, playing a big role in determining your personality, your willingness to take risks, and even how you deal with the unexpected. Having a mix of shy and bold characters helps species survival. In fact, scientists have discovered that personality plays a huge role in survival, especially for sociable group living species. Shy animals in the group bring a sense of caution that balances out the bolder, risk-taking types. There's a theory that social group living species have a mix of more personality types than solitary animals. Researchers have found this is the case in shrews, spiders, and fishes, not necessarily the species that spring to mind when you think about personality. It's called the social niche specialization hypothesis, which essentially means that having a combination of different personalities in the group make group living easier and more successful. When captive minks are returned to the wild, the bolder, more exploratory mink adapt to new environments and have a greater chance of survival than their cautious counterparts. But success isn't all about being bold, because the opposite was found for animals like the swift fox, hyenas, or the brush-tail possum, where being too bold was actually a bad idea and got them killed sooner. It can sometimes get a little more complicated. Out of the successful mink, the ones that started off cautious at first, but then became bold after a while were the highest survivors. The perfect combo was for them to be cautious until they had some knowledge about the environment, then bolder when they got the lay of the land. This is what scientists call the mixed evolutionary stable strategy, essentially where each animal has a combination of different personality traits that they can express in different contexts, rather than all being either one of shy or bold. So, personality definitely plays a role in conservation, but there isn't one type that is more successful than others. Having a mix of personalities is probably necessary to keep groups of animals functioning. We need a bit of everything: introverts, extroverts, risk takers, and cautious planners. These personality traits, whether bold or shy, are what keep species alive and help them adapt to changing environments.